start now. So I'm Clémence Kuchera. I'm the Assistant Dean for the Graduate and Online Programs at McGeorge School of Law. Today, we're going to talk about the top career outcomes after earning an MSL degree in government law and policy. So here's a quick agenda. As you can see, we have a guest speaker, Sarah Kerber, who I will interview in a few minutes. Thank you for joining us, Sarah. Before I interview you, I'm going to give our audience just a quick overview of what the MSL in government law and policy is. Then after our little discussion, I'll do some I'll showcase a few of our alumni and particularly where they're working so people can see exactly the type of work opportunities that you can get with an MSL in government law and policy from McGeorge. And then obviously we'll open it up for Q&A. So what is an MSL degree? I suspect if all of you are here, you've already done some research on what it is. So it's a Master of Science in Law. It's a newish degree in the United States, although over the last 15 years now, there is been an increase in the number of master's degree in law for non-lawyers offered at many law schools. Unfortunately, there is not a title or an abbreviation that we all use. Some call it a Master in Jurisprudence, others call it a Master in Legal Studies. For various reasons, we call it like a Master of Science in Law here at McGeorge. It is a degree that often focuses in a particular area of law. So today for us, we're talking about our Master of Science in Law with a concentration in government law and policy. So two things I just want to flag to you. I'm sure you've read this already. But it is not a paralegal degree and it is not a JD degree. So this is very much a degree to teach you the law, but not for you to be able to pass a bar exam or to represent clients. Similarly, it's not a degree that is going to give you the skills that you need to be a successful paralegal. It is a law degree, but as we will discuss with Sarah and as you will see from our curriculum, it is a law degree that is very narrow and very specific. So we launched our MSL programs in 2012. We have few concentrations, one in government law and policy, one in water and environmental law, one in health law, and we are another one in human resources, and we are also starting a business law concentration this fall. The business law concentration, the government law and policy, and the water and environmental law can be done fully online and we teach our online classes in an asynchronous manner for most of the classes. There are a couple exceptions to that. We teach a negotiation class and a persuasive public speaking class where there will need to be some synchronous session, meaning session that you'll have to attend online at a specific day on time versus asynchronous that by definition would allow you to do the work at a time that is convenient for you. So being able to manage working full time and still going to school. So our government law and policy is probably one of the concentration that attracts the most students. First, because we are, for those of you who are located in California, we are our law school, McGeorge School of Law, as you know, is located in the capital of, excuse me, the state of California. And this is an area of expertise that McGeorge has had for many years. So we're quite well known here, just because many of our alumni work in this field. This is a degree that applies not just to people who wants to work in and around the capital, but this is also for people who wants to work in nonprofits or who want to work for the state government. State government has agencies all over the state of California. It's very much for people who either wants to change career and start something new and at an want to start a career at an intersection of law, regulation, and policy. That's why we call this our government law and policy. Even though it is very much a law degree, you will have quite a lot of policy influence that will be discussed in each of your courses. So talking about courses, here's my segue to talk about the curriculum. As I mentioned, this is a degree that can be done online, asynchronous. There's still a weekly deadline, but you don't have to log in at a specific day or time in order to do your work. And it can be done part-time or it can be done full-time. The large majority of our students do this program part-time, just because it works better for them. If you do the program part-time, it will take you 2 years to complete this degree. We have 7 required courses, with the last 2 courses listed on the required column. Just those 2 courses are summer courses. So we very much have 5 semester-long courses for the government law and policy, and then we have a series of electives. In addition to those electives, we will also students also have the options to come and take a class in person on our campus, for those of you who are located in Sacramento. So this webinar is very much not about the curriculum, so I'm not going to go into more details about the curriculum. However, if you have any questions about it during the Q&A session, feel free to ask then. So I think let's turn to the meat of this webinar, our interview with my guest speaker, Sarah Kerber, who is a Senior Manager of Strategic Projects and Performance at Sacramento Regional Transit. Thank you very much, Sarah, for being here.
Hi. They gave me a mouthful of a title when I started, so.
Yes, very much so. So you graduated with the MSL program in 2018. And you have had since 2018 few positions, but can you just talk to us a little bit about, perhaps let's start with your current position. What does your job consist of?
Yeah, so I've been with Sacramento Regional Transit since about March of 2020, so right at the start of the pandemic. And I work in strategic projects that are closely related to a lot of the policy and large scale initiatives that we're doing as an agency. So I manage our strategic plan, and I help write policy documents, procedure documents for our agency. I work closely with our executive office and our governmental relations office. I'm currently developing a training and workforce development department, and I lead a lot of our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. So I kind of do a little bit of everything, and it's been very exciting. And I really think that the training that I got from McGeorge comes through in every aspect of the work that I do. I really enjoyed going through the MSL program, and found that the courses I was able to take are still very relevant and meaningful to the work that I'm doing.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So how do you think the MSL actually helps you, not just with your current position, but with your career goals since you graduated?
Yeah, so I was working at governmental relations office as an assistant at the California School Employees Association. So it's a labor union for classified school employees. And I'd been there for about 5 years and was trying to transition into like the next level of my career, and was finding it hard to just get my foot in the door at places. So I just happened to come across the MSL program at a party. I talked to one of the professors randomly, and she suggested, and I looked into it, and it has been so wonderful. So I worked full-time while I did the program. I took night courses, and immediately upon getting out, I was able to start interviewing places. I was getting my foot in the door for those higher level positions. I had been working towards getting a role at the Department of Finance, and the program prepared me really well to get into the Department of Finance, and then to move beyond that into the next level of roles. I worked for the Newsom administration for a while before coming over to Sacramento Regional Transit.
Nice, nice. So from your cohort, even though, as you mentioned, like you did the 9 classes because in 2016, 2017, 18, we didn't move the concentration online, but based on many feedbacks that we've received from people in your cohort and others, we've decided to move those core classes online to allow for people to work full-time and to still be able to come to and to still being able to pursue a degree.
I know, I'm so jealous. I think it happened like the year after.
I know. I'm sorry. I know it was challenging for many of you who were continuing to work full-time to take 9 classes. But I just want to let our audience who's listening to us today that again, if you are in Sacramento, you can still take a 9 class if you want to get that experience. We do offer many of our electives that I've listed and many others, like we do offer them on campus in our evening program. So it's I don't think it's something that you want to cross out, like if you're local.
Yeah, there's nothing like getting to experience the Socratic method firsthand, right?
Yes, very much so. But so from your cohort, can you tell us a little bit where some of your MSL colleagues are working? What are they doing now?
Yeah, so one of my best friends I actually made while going through the program, and she and I both focused, I went a little bit more towards the government and policy area, and she focused a little bit more on labor and employment law. And so she actually works for UC Davis Med Center, and she just got promoted again.
Yeah.
Right. So the director of employee relations and employee and labor relations. So she just like everything that we learned at McGeorge, she like instantly started applying in her career and has been able to grow in really remarkable ways. I have another friend who is I wrote all these down so that I can make sure I said them right. Yes. Everybody's title gets longer and longer. She's the director of policy and legislation at the California Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. And I think she's even on the website a couple of times about some of the bills that she worked through the legislature when she was a student. Like just really impressive work that she's doing. And I have another friend who is a policy consultant for the state Senate. And she's been able to be following her degree, move around to different offices within the Capitol and work on different legislation that she's really interested in. So it's been wonderful. And those are just my MSL friends, right? One of the great things about McGeorge is that you get a very close knit community of graduates in both the JD program and the MSL program, and they're everywhere. So yes. Like one of my really good friends was working at the labor union as a lobbyist when I was there, and he's now, I wrote this down too because he also changed, the legislative director at the California Federation of Teachers. And I ran into a friend at a restaurant last week, and he now works for the oh my gosh, everybody keeps changing jobs. So I'm like, where's everybody now? He's the deputy legislative counsel in the office of the legislative counsel. So it's not only do I have my MSL friends, but I have my JD friends who are also in the Capitol, around the Capitol. We see each other at events where people are available to reach out, to have lunches, to give you advice on things. It's a wonderful community. If you plan on working in or around Sacramento in government, public policy, state agency, like I cannot recommend the program highly enough.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to also mention that we have alumni in 50 states. And because, as Sarah mentioned, that we we have such a big emphasis on government law and policy at McGeorge. Like we have people doing government law and policy work in 50 states. So even if you're not in Sacramento or around, I'm sure, you know, there are plenty of people who work in that field, like in close to where you live. Currently in the program, we have people all over the state of California. Again, I realize it's very much California, but we also have people in Texas, we have people in Michigan, and we have people all the way on the East Coast. So, and we have people over there to connect you with throughout the program. As you mentioned, Sarah, like we are a very close knit community. So when we host our event at McGeorge, we don't have the MSL group and then the JD group. So we host most of the event combined, although I'll be honest, like I do every once in a while, I do like to host just an MSL event because sometimes I just want to talk to MSL alumni. Obviously it's a particular group to me, but we very much integrate both programs. And so in all of the online courses that you saw listed earlier, those were developed for the MSL program. They were not developed for the GD program. The difference is not too much in the content, it's in how we teach, because we don't teach to pass the bar exam in the MSL program versus in the JD program, like in all of the courses, like you're going to take classes to prep you for the ultimate final, the bar exam. So, so you get the same content taught very much with an emphasis on practical skills, but that because it's the same content, like sometimes we do allow, well, actually in all of our classes, we allow GD students, a small number of GD students to take the online classes. We obviously have an evening program. So we have JD students who are working full-time who enjoy our online classes. So we have some, usually like 2 or 3, except in the first semester where we don't allow that. After that, we usually have 2 or 3 JD students in the class with the MSL students. And we also have students who are enrolled in our MPX programs, so our MPA and MPP. We usually only have 1 or so students enrolled in those classes. But so because our online classes are capped at 20, because we have a strong emphasis on the faculty to students like relationship, and we want to make sure that faculty has enough time to get back to each student individually on a weekly basis. It does create, or even in an online environment, like a very close group. Students get to know each other, and even though they're not all enrolled in the same program.
Yeah, the relationships with the professors are wonderful. Like Tom Nussbaum teaches one of the capital programs, and we hit it off, and he gave me some great career advice. He's been a reference for me for multiple jobs. So you really do get that like first hand, like face to face, people know you and remember you kind of experience with your professors, which is really nice.
Great. And so what other opportunities getting an MSL at McGeorge made available to you?
In addition to the friendships and the career growth.
Yeah, what else?
Oh my gosh. You know, one thing that was really fun while I was going through the program, I also volunteered with a local nonprofit, and one of the classes was taught by a city attorney. And so he would use real cases that they had used or gone through at the city level to kind of talk and explain about different local level laws. And one of the cases that he brought up was with my nonprofit. And so it was really interesting to hear him talk about kind of how the city approached the legal case, because I remembered the experience of it from like the community side, and so now it was interesting to hear the city side of it. I don't think he knew that I was I was like a spy. So so it's interesting to see, like, even in my volunteer work, everything that I learned in the program continues to come up and be useful and meaningful. Right now, I'm this is so random. I'm volunteering with my neighborhood association, and some of the skills that I learned for communicating with elected officials, navigating the local government process, are really helpful when I need to yell at somebody at city council, right? So
yes, I can imagine you there. Yes. So Looking at the time, and I want to make sure that we give time for our audience to ask you directly questions. I think I'm gonna close this session, but before doing so, any last thoughts, any last advice, for someone who is thinking, who's looking for jobs in the capital space, like if I can call it that way?
I think something that I found really helpful going into the MSL program and then trying to figure out what I wanted to do afterwards, people are really willing to grab coffee with you, explain what their job is, explain how they got to where they are, and provide you like any support that they can to help you make decisions about your career and where you want to go. Take advantage of any connections that you make through McGeorge, and to really get that advice, because I know that I've gotten some really great help from my resources through McGeorge in making decisions about where I wanted to end up professionally.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sarah. So with that said, before I open it up for Q&A, I just wanted to, one of my little entry did not translate from Google Slide to PowerPoint. My apologies. So I just wanted to put another list of where some of our alumni are, and you can, you can easily Google those, so you can find the name. You can probably connect with them on LinkedIn. I just took a random selection, but our MSL program really opens many doors. The key is to figure out why you're doing the program, what are you hoping to accomplish? So we can work with you to make sure that you're taking the right classes and that you are doing the right network. As I often say, getting a master's degree is not just for the additional knowledge or the title. It needs to be a little bit more than that. It needs to be a way for you to expand your network. It needs to be an opportunity to perhaps think about other careers, that you may not have thought. And it's definitely to be a way to open many more doors than just simply getting a master's program and putting that on your resume. And I think we do offer this at McGeorge. And I think, Sarah, you've described all the opportunities that you've had with the MSL degree. And I'm glad to see that you're able to, that the program was beneficial to you. That's the most important. So I think this marks the end of the formal session. I'm skipping a little bit through the next two slides because I'm seeing the time, and I wanted to make sure that you all have my email address. It's ckuchera@pacific.edu. Obviously, there is the graduate law at pacific.edu. That is the more generic email address, but I very much enjoy speaking with prospective students. So I hope that you will email me if you have any questions. And if you also want to be in touch and want to connect with one of our professor or one of our alumni, I am not shy at asking them to connect with you. So don't hesitate to ask me that obviously offline. So for the Q&A session, I needed to stop the sharing because I needed to open the Q&A box or the chat box, and too many screens. So in your Zoom, you should have a Q&A box or a chat box. You're welcome to type your questions in either of them. And I will ask those questions. Your questions can be to Sarah Kerber or directly to me. Could be about career, or if you want any other questions about the MSL program, I'll be happy to answer them. So we'll give you a few minutes to type your questions. Okay, so first question, does the program offer internships? So usually our MSL students are not interested in internships. So there are two internships type that one could do through law school. It's just an internship that you do during the summer, not for credits, and what we call an externship that is for credits. We have had, as I mentioned, usually our MSL students don't want to do internships because they have a full-time job often, although we have had recent graduates who are looking for internships. So we have had few students who have done an externship, so an internship for credits that we have found for them. It's as Sarah mentioned, like we have a large network. It depends a little bit on where you are, but if you're in the Sacramento region, the answer is yes, we can offer you an externship. As far as an internship, so not for credit, we have an alumni network that is so big that I cannot imagine you not being able to find an internship if you were looking for an internship. We have a career center who would work with you to ensure that you're reaching out to the right people, you know how to reach out to them to be able to find you an internship for either a semester or a summer. So depending on your need, we can probably make that happen. But there is not an internship requirement because of the nature of the program and the location of where some of our students are. It would just not be fair to people who are not in this particular region. What other questions do you have? It's always that a little awkward moment, but really don't be shy. We're here to answer your questions. That's why we hosted the webinar. So as you're typing your questions, I will start talking because I have a hard time with just blank space. So a question that we often get is, do I need to have any type of prior legal knowledge in order to apply for the MSL? And Sarah, you just shake your head. Absolutely not. Like, no, that's why you're doing the program. You don't need to have a bachelor's degree. Obviously, you need a bachelor's degree, but you don't need to have one with a minor in law or major in criminal justice or any of that. So we take students, we even have sometimes students with a purely scientific background. You know, we have a water engineer who did the program and graduated in, I think 18 or 19. So maybe you may have overlapped with her, Sarah. No particular background. You don't need to have any particular background. Yes, we do have a scholarship for our MSL students. We review and we make scholarship offer at the time of admission. So when you apply, we review your application for both admission and scholarship. So, and if you're admitted, like you will get a scholarship offer at that time if you were awarded one. What other questions do you have? We are right now accepting application for fall start, fall 23 or spring 24. Fall 23 classes starts on August 14. Spring 24, I'm not 100% sure, but it's pretty early on in January. We don't do any summer starts.
I like that question. If I was going to go through the MSL program, what would I do differently? I wouldn't study so hard.
Tell us why.
Because I treated I'm in a meeting. Go ahead. Sorry, someone just walked into my office. I treated it like your GPA matters. And for most jobs, they don't care, right? They just want to see that you have the degree. So I definitely went above and beyond. And my friend Mallory, who's now the director at UC Davis, she did about half as much work and is doing just fine. So I'm like, okay. Could have approached it differently, but I did learn a lot. Yes.
But I think it's in your personality, Sarah. You don't, yeah. So I'm not sure you would have been able to answer the question, even though the question was not to me. I don't know if, Sarah, you could have done it any other way.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. But yes, as we mentioned, like you get a master's degree to open doors, and unlike with perhaps a bachelor's degree or even a law school, a JD degree, sorry, I should say, even though it doesn't always matter, like your GPA at this point is not what people want to see. They want to see that you have that legal knowledge and that legal expertise.
Right. And then there's another
Go
question,
ahead.
feeling stagnant at the AGPA level. Do you know if the state offers to pay tuition?
So yes, the state offers, so it depends on each agency, but the state offers some tuition assistance. I mean, like there are many agencies that do. You just need to make sure to tell them that you're not going to do a JD program, because some of them don't. They offer tuition assistance, but not if you go to law school for a JD degree. We actually have few people currently enrolled in the program who works for the state. I think, as I mentioned, I think each agencies have different benefits. So you would want to connect with your HR benefit. In the past, we've had to write for a couple agencies, and I don't know the name of those agencies, I can't recall, but for a couple agencies, we've had to write a letter explaining what the degree was and confirming that it was not a JD degree. Happy to do so. And if your HR has questions, like we've also had meetings with HR departments from, where people were working to talk about it and to talk about our program. They had specific questions and they wanted to directly talk to us. We're happy to do so. And there is a way, because usually there is tuition assistance. It's good for us to know if you're going to get that and how much you're going to get, so we can help map out so that you can maximize that tuition assistance. You don't have to do the program over 2 years. You may want to do it over 3 years. If you can have the same tuition assistance over 3 years, maybe we spread out the units over 3 years. So there are ways to maximize it. So the answer to you is very much like, reach out to your HR department, to the benefits division, and ask them a tuition assistance program. If you say the word law school, they often think about a JD program, and they may say that their benefits do not apply to that. And that's when we may need to assist you in advocating on your behalf to be able to get that tuition assistance. But I will just tell you that people who work at the state, especially people who are in AGPA positions, like, as you know, with a master's degree, like, you have so many more jobs that you can apply for.
Yeah, that I went from, I think, like an AGPA level after the program I was at, more of like an SSM1, SSM2. And now just a couple years out of the program, I feel like I can get like a, what is it, CPA? I've been out of the state system a little bit. I forgot all the acronyms.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really does set you up for career advancement within the state.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, I don't want to stay too long here, and I want to be respectful of all of your time. I'm going to put again in the chat my email address. Feel free to send me an email, and if you want to be in touch with Sarah, you can send me the email, and I'll be happy to forward it to Sarah so you guys can connect.
Yeah, I'm happy to grab coffee and talk about career.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for your time. Thank you to your colleague for stepping out of your office during the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And I hope that you will connect with me individually so we can talk a little bit more about your career goals. And I'll be the first one, just for you to know, that I'll be the first one to tell you if I don't think the MSL would be a good fit for you. But I look forward to connecting with each of you individually offline. Thank you, Sarah. Have a fantastic afternoon.
Bye, you too.
Okay, bye.